And this is what the media does with absolutely everything. They want you to believe certain things so that you continue to waste your life energy, even though they hate you.
You have done the same exact thing. I don't understand you, bro. What are you doing? What games are you playing, Andrew Tate? I want to know, what games are you playing, man?
I am a revert and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
then sponsor 10 people for just £100 this Ramadan.
remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
Charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. I don't know what to make of Andrew Tate. Before he came to Andrew Tate, he had some weird belief systems about Islam and thinking that it's only the adulterous woman that gets capital punishment. So we've done a video trying to advise him, / refuting him, and red pill kind of stuff. Then he became a Muslim. We assumed the best in him, defended his honor, that he's changed, he's a new man, he's a revert, give him some time to improve. And then this Ramadan, the gambling, the drinking and eating and all that kind of stuff. And then before that, in 3 separate instances of attacks that have been done, which were, terrorism, but he blamed Muslims and Islam when it had nothing to do with them. So I don't trust him. But in this interview that he had with Tracy, this woman, she's, I think, Lebanese, I don't know for that matter. I don't know if she's a Muslim or not a Muslim. I have no idea for this matter. But let's watch and see where is Andrew Tate now. Because he's gone back to Dubai, he's met Tam Khan again. Maybe Tam Khan has put some sense into him. And maybe he's repented, I don't know. But I don't know what to make out of him. Let's just watch for ourselves, inshallah. And you guys tell me what you think.
I can't tell you how many young boys' messages I read only saying, you have got me out of my shit. I'm so lucky to be part of this university. I just was able to make so-and-so amount of money. I've read multiple little guys, I don't know how old they are, all saying amazing things. Like, they are really doing really well for themselves because of that. So it's really nice to see that you have that impact.
It is, but it's kind of sad that we live in an empire of lies where the people they say are the good guys are the bad guys and the people they say are the bad guys are the good guys. You think about it. Let's actually analyze this. I'm inspiring men to not be depressed, to believe in themselves, to go to the gym, to stick up for what they believe in, to say what they think. And then I'm offering them a platform that allows them to make money and dedicate themselves and be constantly motivated to be in fantastic physical condition and make money and be financially free. I should be a hero. Why am I treated so badly?
Okay, I mean, he made some very valid points. He's telling people to do good, he's telling young men to do good, etc. But why is he being treated so badly? Why is he not deemed a hero? Don't forget those words, because we're going to come to those words, very important, inshallah. And by the way, I would not encourage anyone to sign up to his university. However, does he encourage men to be more masculine? 100%. In a society where we're living in, where men have become absolute feminine, and divorce rates are rocketing because men are not leading women, and women are leading themselves, and they've become more masculine, Andrew Tate is needed. Let's get this to it. And he is, to a certain extent. There is certain stuff that crosses the Sharia. But Andrew Tate has done many benefits. Not total benefits, but many benefits for the man to better himself and be masculine and as a leader. Definitely, 100%. But that's not our problem here. Let's carry on.
You're not smart enough to do the research and work it all out and do the details. Here's a simple formula. Whoever they say is good is bad, and whoever they say is bad is good. That's literally how
people are waking up now. I mean, especially with what has happened with Israel and Palestine, with how much the media twists the truth and how much it enraged so many people. If that is not a lesson for you to say, maybe not everything the media says is right, why is that applicable when it suits you and your narrative and something you want to defend, but it can't suit something that, maybe it's not part of your circle, maybe it's not part of what you're trying to defend. But I think...
Okay, good. So again, Andrew Tate has made some very important points, and I'm going to replace Andrew Tate's name with Islam very soon. I'm just going to make sense to you, inshallah, guys. So what did he say? He said, if you haven't got the time to do the knowledge, study, etc., it's very simple. Whoever they deem to be bad is good, and whoever they deem to be good is bad. No problem. I accept that. Let's carry on, inshallah. Let's carry on. Andrew Tate speaking some deep facts.
And the media, another trick they do, and this is something else you have to be very, very careful of. A lot of people don't do this often enough. It's not only what they say, it's how they say it. And this is so important. And we can talk about Israel, Gaza quickly because you mentioned it. It's a perfect example. When Hamas and the Palestinians defend themselves, it's a brutal massacre. When Israel murders innocent civilians, it's a tactical strike. Those differences in languages, brutal massacre, tactical strike. Now, we know that a tactical strike is a collapsed building on top of children. We know that there is missing limbs and dead women, children, and men. We know how brutal it is because we can now see the video. If X wasn't a free platform, we wouldn't even see the videos. So if you just read tactical strike, you imagine, they picked the one bad guy out of the group and it was tactical and they sniped him. But it's not that, is it? It's collapsing buildings on top of innocent civilians. But when Hamas defend themselves, even if they're killing other soldiers, which is the basic prerequisite of war, it's a brutal massacre. So when you're listening to what the media say, It's not only what they're saying, because sometimes they're unfortunately forced to tell some version of the truth. Then what they do is they say it in a particular way and they lie by omission. And by omitting certain parts of the story, they can tell the truth while also lying.
Correct.
This is very, very common. They do this a lot. In fact, they usually do it when they attack a man's reputation.
Okay, let's just stick with that before Andrew Tate comes and talks about himself being that man who's being attacked by the media, which I'm sure that's a reality. He said some very valid points there. Very, very valid points. So the media use specific words like killed. Yes? Killed and died. Yes, when it comes to, for example, Israeli citizens who died, most of them are IDF soldiers, they've been killed. When Gazans, when Palestinian children, men, women and children have been massacred, they have died. One's dying just means, just everyone dies, we all going to die, but the other ones are being killed. So you can see that they play with it. And it's the same with when it comes to strip clubs. They don't call them a strip club because it sounds very tacky. They call it gentleman's club. Yes? They play with words. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, speech is like sihr. So he knows very well this. The question I want to ask Andrew Tate, very simply, is, then why did you do the same with blaming 3 attacks about Muslims? Why did you do that? Because you're talking about the media. You're talking about stuff like, look, you're saying stuff like, what you just said now, and then you're saying about why am I being treated so badly? Why whenever they tell you something is bad, rather it is good, and if it's good, it's rather bad. You say all of this stuff, and it's so true what you're saying. I could not agree with you more. But you are the same man in social media, on Patrick Bet-David's show, etc., where millions of people are watching you, where you spew this nonsense, etc., that innocent Muslims were attacking, a whole riot started. Why did you do what you blame the media? I do not understand, for the love of me, please, for the love of God. Why did you do and use the same tactics against Islam and Muslims? I'm so curious. You're blaming the media, and that's why I want to change the word Andrew Tate to Islam. The way you are saying that, this is what they do against you, and and this, and Gaza, and blah, blah, blah. But replace that with Islam. Why don't they deem Islam to be a hero? Islam, like, obviously, it's not an individual, but Islam to be a religion that's saving people, because Islam is doing that. Islam is there to tell the people, don't gamble, don't have sex outside of marriage, don't drink, don't do drugs, yes, don't gamble, don't do this, and this, yes. Why? Why is the good bad? Like, for example, the same thing applies to Islam and Muslims. They deem them to be bad, then rather good, yes. But then why did you join the bandwagon and make Muslims specifically, the bad guys? So that means, to your standards, when you deem the Muslims to be bad, that they were actually rather good. No, because if you've done the same nonsense, the same lies like the media does. Why did you do that? Because now it's backfired on you. Look, I've caught you out. Here.
So I can talk about this from personal experience. What they'll do if they want to attack a man's reputation is they would call 1,000 women who know him, and 999 would say he's a great guy, and then they'd find the one who says he's bad.
Give her a microphone.
And they'd only mention her. They don't mention the 999 who say he's good. Even if those 999 say the other one's a liar, they don't mention them. They omit it. They only show that one. And they say, oh, we're telling the truth. This is what she thinks. This is what she says. But they cut off so much of the story that they're not telling the truth.
Okay, again, this applies to Islam. Again, look, you're talking about yourself, Andrew Tate. We can clearly see you're talking about yourself. But again, this applies to Islam. Yes, Islam, Muslims do, so many good. But they will get that one thing that they Muslims may have done bad or whatever, or somebody came and took the religion, took a certain verse out of context, etc., or done a atrocious act of violence or whatever. But you, before they even do that, Andrew Tate, you blame Muslims. They don't even the perpetrators in this case. If there was Alice, you can say, okay, we can blame you for generalizing them all, which is the way you've been generalized with all those 999 women and one good whatever. Why did you do the same? Why did you do the same? You're criticizing the media, yes? You're criticizing them, but you're doing and behaving just like them. Please tell me, Andrew. I'm so intrigued to find out why you're doing this.
And this is what the media does with absolutely everything. Because the primary objective of the media is not to inform you. Think about this if you're watching this at home. Think about this. Why do the people in charge of the world want you to know anything? Who are you? Get over yourself for a second. They don't give a shit if you live or die. You could die in a car crash right now. You think they give a about you? They don't want you to know anything. They want you to believe things. And they want you to believe the things that suit their agenda. They don't want to educate you ever. They want to propagandize you. It's kind of amazing how arrogant people are when they go, oh, well, I read this, I saw this, I'm informed. No one's trying to inform you, friend. You're not important enough. You don't get presidential briefings. Nobody gives a shit about you. You're another nobody cockroach in traffic. So no one wants to inform you about anything because you have no power or capability. Nobody cares about you. They want you to believe certain things so that you'll continue to waste your life energy. They want you to believe certain things so you'll continue paying government taxes, even though they hate you.
Okay, one second, Andrew. Here, I can ask you the same question again. Why did you spew those lies and those nonsense? Yes, they want you to believe a certain thing. You did exactly what mainstream media was doing. Believe the Muslims are your enemies. They don't want good for you. They are there to hunt you and kill you and maim you and da 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 da. Why did you do the same thing? I want to know. You are criticizing the media, mainstream media, and you did exactly the same thing by vilifying Muslims as a Muslim yourself. Okay, and by the way, sorry, I don't like you're a Muslim. Yes, you have done the same exact thing. I don't understand you, bro. What are you doing? What games are you playing, Andrew Tate? I want to know, what games are you playing, man? You're criticizing the mainstream media, but you're doing exactly the same thing as them.
They want you to continue sitting at home miserable and depressed, believing your life is worth living long enough for you to build the roads and build the bridges and then end up jumping off of one of them. That's all they want to do. So it's kind of amazing.
And not complain where your tax dollars are going.
Absolutely. This is the thing. So it's kind of amazing that people who watch the mainstream news or interact with it at all are arrogant enough to believe that the BBC are building this whole big studio and hiring these professional presenters and getting these very nice cameras and putting together these video presentations because they really want to inform this nobody about how the world works. Like, get the over yourself.
Though.
Yeah, get over yourself, people. No one, they don't care about you knowing anything. If it was up to them, if they could click and make you believe what you need to believe, there would be no news. There'd be no news at all. In countries where the people are already doing what the government wants them to do, there is no news. They just get rid of the news. Well, we don't need the news. We need to tell anyone about the news. No one needs to know what's going on in the world because they're already doing what we want.
Right.
And the less people are doing what they want, the more news there needs to be. Work it out.
Well, I am trying to work out, Andrew Tate, and the question I'm asking is, if you despise the mainstream media so much, and you are absolutely correct, I'm not denying everything you're saying. It's absolutely spot on. But why did you do the same thing as them? Why did you vilify Muslims and Muslims had nothing to do with these 3 attacks? Why did you do that? The very strategies they use. Yes, the manipulation they use, the deception they use. You did the same thing with Muslims. Why? Please answer me. Why? I want to know why.
So you were on Piers Morgan on October 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And before then, I mean, that's when you really spoke out about Israel-Palestine. And before then, you had a lot of conservatives on your side only because that you kind of spoke the same language, you had the same ideologies. I know that you don't identify as a conservative per se, but they shared a lot of your point of view, so no one really attacked you. No one really cared about the things and the things that you were saying. But all of a sudden, October 9 came. You talked about Israel, Palestine. You defended Palestine, and then all of a sudden, you had your issue in Florida, where everybody attacked you. Everybody came after you. Tell me a little bit about the selective outrage and the double standards.
Yeah, there's a interesting conspiracy theory that there's a particular group of people who control the world, and they control the media, and they control the money, and they control the banking. And if you speak against their interests, you pay the price. It's an interesting conspiracy
I've never
theory.
heard that.
Yeah, very strange.
What? First time.
Yeah, they were actually on my side. And then, as you said, I, on October 9th, which was very soon after October 7th, called what Israel was doing a disgusting genocide. And I said it before anyone else did. And I said it against my legal counsel's advice. And I said it because I thought it was the right thing to say. And at that time, nobody else had really understood quickly enough that the beheaded baby story was a lie and that Israel were being disproportionate in their response. And as soon as I did that, all of these other influencers on the conservative side, plus a whole bunch of bots, all of this started to just whip up a storm trying to damage my reputation and damage my name. And primarily they were just saying that I was, the usual things, anti-Semitic, and I was a bad person. And then they tried to attack me because of my history of owning a webcam studio, and they said that I'm bad. I obviously made it clear that OnlyFans donate millions of dollars a year to AIPAC, which AIPAC, of course, are the Israel lobby, which are heavily involved in American politics. And OnlyFans, who's owned by a Jewish man, donates millions of dollars to this day. But they don't care about that. They care about supposedly something I did 15, 16 years ago for some reason. Anyway, very strange coincidence, all of this. But the Overton window has shifted now, I believe, and I think everybody understands what's going on. And there's been some recent developments also between the relationship of America and Israel in the last 3 to 4 days, which are very interesting. So we're going to have to see how things play out. But
so, guys, you can see clearly how he talked about the mainstream media and the people at the top, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. These Zionists who control the world, yes. The Zionists. Yes, not Jews, Zionists. Yes, not every Zionist is a Jew, but not every Jew is a Zionist. Let's make that very categorically clear, guys. So, yes, they turned against him. They turned against you. Yes, and they knew exactly that when you talk about the truth, about the Palestinian cause and whatever it is for that matter, you were attacked against. Yes, so you can see clearly that the Muslims are their public enemy number one, because we are the ones that are trying to get people to follow the one true path of God and stay away from all degeneracy. The Western world attacks Islam, but Islam is the only source, the only last fight left against degeneracy and evil is Islam. So they attack it, but you joined that team. You joined that team and blamed Muslims. Yes, and again, like you said, OnlyFans is owned by, and you made a very, very good point. OnlyFans, they donate to APAC. Yes, however, they came and blamed you for whatever reason about the webcam thing that you did back in days, etc. You know, and they tried to pin that on you and try to, you know, get you arrested and whatever for that matter. But again, someone on an industrial level, OnlyFans, yes, is something similar to what you did in your past. But they can casually just, you know, take advantage of these young kids who are being groomed in those places. It's pornography. It's destroying society at large. And they make millions and they donate and nobody says, oh, bats an eye. It's true.
Get people emotionally riled up over subjects they don't even understand or know. This happened recently with the Houthis. It was funny. Before Trump started blocking the Houthis, I noticed the news was talking about the Houthis all the time. We have to get the Houthis, the Houthis, the Houthis. And everyone's walking around going, yeah, we have to get the Houthis. I'm like, you didn't even know who the Houthis were 3 days ago. You don't even know where Yemen is. But they could just make you dislike these people so they can murder them en masse. How do they do that? Because they can emotionally affect you. I can't be emotionally affected. In the West, if they have an idea that they want to psyop the population with, they aim for children and women first. They don't aim for the men. We're hard to convince.
That's what they did with the October 7th. The first thing that came out was behead babies.
Of course, a lie.
To trigger women.
100%.
Yeah.
I got in an argument with somebody when the Taliban retook Afghanistan. And the Taliban, I was on Piers Morgan. And he sat me down and he said, what do you think about the Taliban preventing women from going to school? And I said, well, I don't live in Afghanistan. I'm not Afghanistani. I think the Taliban have a very difficult job to try and be the government of a war-torn country like Afghanistan. I'm sure that their decisions are not always perfect, but it's their government and they're a sovereign nation. And we believe in sovereign nations, don't we? So they made their own decision. And he said, well, don't you think that's disgusting? Don't you think that they should be allowed to go to school? We should do something about it. And I sat and said, why don't the women do something about it? Why do men have to go die?
I mean, brothers and sisters, that's it. I'm not going to say much, inshallah. But as you can see, you know, like, you know, he was being asked. He rightly said so, yeah? Okay, they make the Houthis look bad. They make this people look bad. They make that. They decide who is bad and good. It's as simple as that. They decide who is bad and good. And not only that, for example, they don't care about the girls in Afghanistan and they don't give two craps about that. They don't care. They use it as a disguise. They do not care. If they genuinely cared about women's rights, they would be stopping what's happening in Gaza. Yes, feminists will be on the streets speaking about what's happening in Gaza, but they don't. It's all for their own benefits. Brothers and sisters, there's nothing else to be said, inshallah. On my next video of Andrew Tate, we speak about Illuminati, how Andrew Tate talks about the ones who are controlling the world and how they are trying to manipulate us and him. But we'll be, inshallah, doing a reaction video to that very soon, inshallah. You can watch that video. Brothers and sisters, that's all I have to say, inshallah. And I hope Andrew Tate comes out and explains to us why he used the same strategy, the same deception, the same manipulation as mainstream media when he accused Muslims of carrying out free attacks that had nothing to do with them. I want to know what games he's playing. Till then, brothers and sisters, I would say be still wary about Andrew Tate. That's all I have to say, inshallah, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.